So let's get to the main topic of the video. You saw me weigh in on the first day and I weighed 195.6. Then I just weighed in today and I weighed in at 191.6 2 days later. So does that mean that I lost 4 pounds, 4 of them things in 2 days? When I first got started, I didn't really understand that I can completely transform my body. I knew it was possible for other people, but I didn't really believe it. So I wanted to show how it is possible coming from someone that had a similar thought process. So over the past month, what I did was put on 15 pounds of fat. I'm going to show you all how to actually go through the process of losing fat while also building some muscle. All right, y'all, so today is day 3, and you can see that this is still here. It ain't went nowhere, obviously. So Renner brought up a good point yesterday when I was talking to her. She was showing me that anybody can just take a piece of paper and write down any date and say that it's real. So you can see the date is April 15th now, 2 days after I made the original post. So what I'm about to do now is weigh in and let y'all see where I'm currently at. It says 191.6. So it's the morning, I'm getting my water in. So I want to touch quickly on my calories and my macros. Now, what I'm not going to do is tell you the exact amount of calories I'm eating, the exact macros, because it does fluctuate. And if you saw one of my previous videos I put out basically about calorie cycling, that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. So I don't eat the same amount of calories every single day. I am still in a deficit, which is what's most important. And maybe I will, maybe I'll put that in the next episode, but the main reason I don't want to specifically say the actual calories and macros I'm following is because I don't want you to try to follow the same thing that I'm doing just because you may be a similar height or a similar body weight. Your calories should be based on your height, your weight, your activity levels. If you're on your feet all day, moving around, if you're sitting at a desk, all those things play a huge part in how many calories you need to be taking in and your macros, all that good stuff, right? Basically, to start this cut, my overall goal is to keep my calories as high as I possibly can. And what do I mean by that? I want to eat the most amount of calories that I can while still being in the calorie deficit. So I don't want to go into this drastic calorie deficit right out front, like decreasing my calories by, 700, 800. So far, what I've done is create a 200 calorie deficit. So once my weight starts to stop, I'm not really making any more progress, I'm not losing any more weight, that's when I'll make some more adjustments. But I'm not doing a whole bunch of cardio. I'm doing a body rebuild about 3 times per week, which is my at-home cardio workout program. Links in the description if you want to grab it and do it with me, or if you're watching this on Instagram, links in the bio. Basically, that's what I'm doing. My at-home cardio. We're still in quarantine, so you got to get it how you can, right? So that's what I'm doing. Now, once I do start to hit a stall, once my weight loss starts to slow down, then I'm gonna decrease my calories again, right? I'm gonna drop them another 100 calories, or maybe another 150, so I can continue to lose weight over the next, 8 to 12 weeks. We're gonna see how we go. But my goal for doing it, my whole purpose is so that I hold on to as much muscle as possible. When you go into this drastic calorie deficit, right off the bat, yeah, you're gonna lose weight, you will lose some fat, but you will lose some muscle when you're trying to drop that much weight that quickly. Unless you very obese, then yeah, that's probably the best route for you to try to lose, some weight rather quickly if you're severely obese or, your health is at stake. But for me, I'm trying to hold on to as much muscle as possible. I want to still look full once I cut down. My goal is to get lean, but still look good. So I'm just lowering my calories as needed. Another reason you don't want to lower your calories, 700, 1,000 calories right off the bat, is because you will get some very quick progress, but you don't want your body to adapt to that. You don't want those metabolic adaptations, because then you have to do more drastic things once your body does come to a stall. Then you gotta really decrease your calories, then you really gotta up the cardio. So make sure that you have a fat loss program where you're lowering your calories little by little so that you can lose as much weight on as high amount of calories as possible while being in a calorie deficit. Then once you come to a stall, lower them by another 100, 200 calories. This is something that you're turning into a lifestyle. You want to maintain the fat loss once you get there. And if you do it in a drastic, fast way, eventually you're gonna come to the point where you're feeling deprived because you're not eating as much food as you should be. So the priority should be high value foods while eating as many calories as you possibly can while still being in a calorie deficit. Don't lower your calories, 1,000 calories right off the bat. Just lower them, 200, 300 calories. Take the long road with slow process, and you're gonna be much more satisfied with your results, all right? So I'm about to get my cardio in, about to hit the body rebuild. So finished up the cardio, body rebuild program. Had to go wipe my face, cool down a little bit because I was tired, sweating, looking crazy. But man, yeah, this is definitely gonna be beneficial. Just the fact that, I can still get my cardio in. I don't have to worry about, going out there. It's actually snowing right now. Can y'all see that? Yeah, y'all see it. So I'd much rather do my cardio here on the inside, save some time, don't have to worry about catching no cold, no flu, no COVID. Get ready to do some work, check in with some clients again. Got a call in a few, wants to drop some weight, get right for the summer. So we're gonna take care of that, and I'll see y'all in a minute. So here's the thing, like with the carbs and the fats, you can always play around with those and just see how they make you feel. Regardless if you have more carbs or if you have more fats, as long as you're always under your calorie limit, you'll be okay. You don't have to be like super specific and say like, oh, today I have to get just 50 carbs or I have to get like 70 grams of fats or whatever it may be. And that's the last thing I want you to be like overwhelmed. It's not sustainable, and I want you to have like a more sustainable approach to it. So that's why I just keep repeating, like, as long as you feel good, that's what's most important. And as long as you stay under your calories and you do get in, roughly the amount of protein that's on the plan, you can adjust the carbs and the fats. Like, you can play around with those and just see how they make you feel. So increase your fats. And then, if you feel better like that with the food choices, like after you eat a certain meal, like write it down what you ate and how you felt like an hour after that. So if you felt sluggish, then, write that down so like you probably shouldn't have that, and write down the time you ate it. If you have a high carb meal at lunchtime, you got like really sleepy after, like take a note of that so that's not a good amount of carbs for you or a good meal for you to have at that time. It's all about experimenting and trying to find the right meals at the right time to eat that make you feel better and that keep you on track with the actual fat loss goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, I love this. Like, I love being able to track everything and keeping me in check.
Mm-hmm.
Holding me accountable. I can see everything. I can kind of like, okay, you got this many carbs and you need to fall back into this.
About to get a quick full body workout in. This isn't my structured plan yet. I don't start that till next week. Right now, just getting an overall feel for everything that I can do. I've been working out, still doing movements and such, but I haven't actually been training or on a program since, we've been on quarantine. So right now, I'm just doing some basic movements, quick supersets. So let's get to the main topic of the video. You saw me weigh in on the first day and I weighed 195.6. Then I just weighed in today and I weighed in at 191.6 2 days later. So does that mean that I lost 4 pounds, 4 of them things in 2 days? No, does not mean that. I did not lose 4 pounds of fat in 2 days. Now my weight did change, but here's the thing about weight. I really want to break this down so that you can understand it. There are so many components when it comes to the body and how much it weighs, and there's so many daily fluctuations. Your motivation or your mindset on whether you're making progress or not, it should not depend on what the number on the scale is like on any particular day. And I'm gonna break this down. So when you're starting a new fat loss diet, when you're prioritizing fat loss and you're coming from a space of eating, for the most part, whatever you want, you're not really following any strict calories or anything like that. The first week, maybe 2 weeks of that new fat loss cut are going to be probably the fastest amount of progress that you're gonna make when it comes to weight loss. There's a specific reason for that. There's a couple reasons for that. One, because you're just taking in a lot less food. When you're starting a fat loss diet, that means you're restricting your calories. So you're eating a certain amount of calories every day. So let's say prior to you starting this fat loss diet, let's say you were taking in anywhere between 2,500 to 4,500 calories if you're overweight, you wasn't really tracking what you were eating, but you start this fat loss diet and you're taking in 2,100 calories or 1,900 calories. That huge decrease in calories, the amount of food that you're actually consuming now, plays a huge role in how much you're going to be weighing, because food actually weighs pounds. When those calories come down, you're restricting the amount of food that you're putting in your body, meaning you're just going to naturally weigh less. That's one of the reasons. You're just not eating as much food, so you're not going to weigh as much. Another reason is because when you restrict your calories, when you narrow those down, naturally you're going to be consuming less carbs. Carbs in general contain water. So carbohydrate, think of it as like a sponge. When there are carbs present in your body, water soaks up inside of those carbs. It's not the fact that carbs make you gain weight, more so that carbs retain water. So the more water that you have in your body, the more that you're gonna weigh. That doesn't mean that you're gaining fat, it just means that there's more water weight, which tends to show on the scale from time to time. But when you decrease the calories that you're consuming, you're naturally decreasing the amount of carbs that you're eating as well. So if it's less carbs, that means it's less water that you're holding on to. So some of that water weight is coming off within the first couple of days, first couple of weeks. So that also plays a role in how fast you start to lose weight. So just because the scale goes down within the first couple of days, that doesn't mean that you're losing fat, although you may be losing some. But more than likely it's the fact that you're eating less food, so your body weighs less, and you're eating less carbs, so there's less water weight. In a sense, it's kind of good because if you can see some progress as far as the number on the scale, it tends to motivate you, but that is not the determining factor. The determining factor is being in your calorie deficit over a long period of time, which is where the fat loss is actually going to come from. So those are the main things. The fact that you're eating less food in your body is holding on to less weight. Also, you're losing water weight. Another reason is probably the fact that you're eating less sodium because you're switching from a probably heavily processed diet or a moderately processed diet to more of a plant-based diet or more of a whole foods-based diet. So that's just less sodium you're going to be taking in, which is also less water that you're holding on to. So throughout the first couple of weeks, you're going to notice that there will be a more sufficient amount of weight loss, especially if you tend to be a little bit overweight right now. There's going to be a more dramatic decrease in the amount of weight that you're losing within the first couple of weeks. So after that first couple of weeks, you will see the weight start to slow down, which is why you shouldn't get attached to how fast you're losing weight. Because at that point, your body has probably gotten rid of the water that it's going to lose, as well as gotten used to the amount of food that you're now taking in. So it's going to be a process of staying consistent with your diet, eating the amount of calories you're supposed to eat, as well as training properly and sticking to the plan, staying dedicated to it, and you will continue to lose weight. So to summarize, did I lose 4 pounds over the last 2 days? Technically, yes. Was it 4 pounds of fat? No, of course not. It's just more so the fact that I'm taking in a lot less food in my body. I'm not eating as much as I was. I'm on restricted calories, as well as I'm not taking in as much carbs as I was, so there's less water weight I'm holding on to, and not as much sodium as I had been. The other thing that I forgot to mention is that the body is probably getting rid of a lot of the waste that it has been holding on to. So like I said, if you're switching from a heavily processed diet or even just somewhat processed diet, you've probably been holding on to some waste that hasn't been released yet, if you know what I'm saying. So the fact that you're now switching to probably more of a plant-based diet or a whole food diet or whatever it may be, now your body is starting to get rid of that waste a little bit quicker. You're probably taking in more fiber, more of the things that your body actually needs. So obviously when you use the washroom, you're gonna weigh less because there's less things in your body to make it weigh more, right? All right, so keep that in mind. Just wanted to make sure that you understand that. When you see some really quick weight loss with a person, normally it's not fat directly. Fat will tend to come off after some time, but within the first week or so, it's usually just a process of your body decreasing the amount of things that it's holding on to, right? Seitan, the same kind we've been eating pretty much all week. Obviously, like I said, we're still quarantined, so I've just been stocking up on the basics. And then over here, we got some tricolor beans with some rotel in there. So I'm just add my pink salt in here. Now I'm gonna mix that around. We got some cut okra, frozen. Gonna add a little bit of this fajita seasoning, a little bit of that Old Bay. Then some of that sazon. There we go. Bust it open. Boom. Right down the middle. So I'm adding in that okra.
Right side right there.
Dinner for tonight. We got the trio beans, so pinto beans, black beans, and navy beans. Then we got the sliced up seitan. We got some golden potatoes right there with some sauteed okra cuts. All right.
What's up, y'all? That's Najee, Built by Plants. He's eating some good ass food.
Facts. Tastes alright.
It tastes better than alright. It tastes amazing.
Raina approves. That's a good sign.